What is going on? And welcome to another episode of the Urban Pitch Podcast, the beautiful game of life, part of the Believe Network. I'm Ramsey Abushala, editor of UrbanPitch.com. To my right, as always, the director of Vibes himself, Julio Monterosa. Julio, what's going on, man?
Nothing much. Another day in paradise, brother.
Another day in paradise, another episode. We got some special guests in the building for well, not in the building, joining us via Zoom. But I mean, I mean, you could say they're competitors. You could say that, but I mean, that's we're here to grow the game together. They have a really dope media outlet, Club 11. I'm sure you guys have heard of that if you're listening right now. But we like to think that we're all part of the same. We're on the same community where we're all here to help the game grow. They say a rising tide raises all boats. But in the building, we got Pablo and Gabriel Bayona Sapag, the fraternal twins. They just told me. I just thought it was a coincidence that they had the same last name. But guys, what is going on? What's going on?
What's going on, guys?
What's up, guys? Thank you again for having us. It's super fun just to be able to chat and big fans of your work as well.
Yeah, no, thank you for having us, guys. I mean, it means a lot to be able to come on, and like Gabe said, big fans.
Yeah, appreciate that.
All right, who's the oldest one?
Yeah,
the beard.
Yeah, I never let him forget. Right here.
So let's talk about Club 11, obviously, because that's why we're here. It's been a couple of years now. We've been following you for a while. You have great content covering the U.S. game, whether it's written work, podcasts, photography. Just talk about Club 11, how that started, what y'all are about, and just how you got here today.
Of course, man. Pablo, who you want to take it?
You go right ahead.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Man. So it all started 2018. I think when Rooney went over to DC, I looked at as it's definitely it was like a moment that kind of started a lot of interest, I think, back into the team, DC United. Pablo and I, we'd been to a few games when they were out in RFK, and I think the atmosphere completely changed. I mean, the fans have always been great, but having that new stadium and a new player like Rooney is obviously it's gonna get people out there, and that got me out there. And at the time, I was doing some photography. I really was interested in the game here. I thought that, I mean, look, there was just a lot of little details and stories that kind of went beneath the cracks at times, and just really wanted to shoot soccer. So just took my camera to the game. Got lucky. A lot of people were helpful, kind of guiding us through the credentialing process. I got a shout out. I think Chris, who's in LA. I am Chris, I think, on Instagram.
Oh yeah. We know Chris.
He was actually
yeah,
man. Dude, I owe him a lot for just responding to that message. I think it was summer of 2018. I had no idea how to get a credential, and he pretty much laid it out for me, what you need to do, and I think after that it was pretty straightforward, getting into the games. I think Club 11 at that point, Pablo was really into writing, and just kind of put our heads together and went into, I think at that point it was a website. We had some recaps, a lot of photography on Instagram. And yeah, man, I think it seemed like a lot of people around the country just had that same interest, that same passion for the game, try to grow it through photography and also through the writing. So the collective just kind of grew naturally into 2019, and then pandemic, man, that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was tough. We'd been shooting for 2 years at that point, and it kind of forces you to change. And I'm almost glad that, no, obviously not glad that it happened, but that pause really helped us, see what we wanted to start doing in the following years. We just took a step back and kind of planned it out from the start. For Pablo and I, just being from Peru, we've always loved this game. And I think the amount of diversity and just variety in stories in this country is ridiculous. You guys know better than anybody, but it's infinite. And I think the similarities and differences are what makes it super special. But that's we really wanted to get into more detail, outside of the pitch, and that's kind of how the editorial work came to be. Pablo, I'll let you talk a little bit more about that. But yeah, man, like since then, it's really been a mix of those two. It's just I guess the photography and the writing together, the collective of people who kind of wanted to push the brand forward, and I think it's been really like for me personally, like the most special thing has been that that group of people, being able to meet up with these guys in Philadelphia the last 2 years to play the tournaments. Like it's just cool, man. Like finding like-minded people who want to push the game forward as well. It's just special. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and now that you've gotten more as you got more established, you have that nationwide network of contributors. Dave Williamson's one of them. We've worked with Dave a bunch
It's
in the
awesome,
past.
man.
Hey,
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah. He reps
Love
ATL
that.
hard. But Gabriel, you said you're in Miami right now. Pablo, you're in DC. So how did you all kind of grow this expansive network? Because every time I see a new, whether it's a photo album or a photo carousel on Instagram or a player interview, it seems like it's in a different location. So how did you guys grow to get to be nationwide?
Yeah, man. It was so I have to go back to it was Leo actually I think who reached out, and Carlo as well, who I'm with right now. It was just people looking to shoot games as well, in their markets and show their teams the way they saw it. I think one thing we always push for with our photography is to kind of just obviously be creative, but just show us the game like the way you see it. You're the one on the stadium, you're the one in front of the field with the fans. Like just do your thing, and a lot of people, like including myself, we just really wanted to get out there and showcase that. So I think Instagram definitely helped. I think everybody that reached out early on, are people that just shared that common mission. And I guess like I asked myself that question a lot as well. Like I think it was just natural. And it happened to be that people were in different places, and it's just a lot of it is in DC and New York. But the network just grew because we all wanted to either shoot photos or writing. And we've always just like to, like you guys said, I think expanding the coverage is important, and getting the different perspectives and the point of view is something that we really like doing.
Yeah, just from the pictures on Instagram, I'm like, wow, these guys know what they're doing.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Dude, it's wild, man. Like some of the games that I think some of the games that we shot this year, like the All-Star game, for example. Like shout out to Morgan, that we've been denied from those games like 3 years in a row, I think, since like 2018. So like even this year, there's always something new coming out. I think obviously the fixtures change, but
Right.
everything you see every weekend, like um, for us, it's also like just as special, like receiving those pictures and seeing, from different places in the country it's awesome, man. Like, you see the growth everywhere. It's really cool.
Yeah, and speaking of MLS All-Star, let's talk about some like kind of ongoing trends in U.S. soccer. What were your thoughts on the game as a whole? The skills challenge that led into it. What's your take on the current format of MLS All-Star? Because obviously it's evolved so much over the years.
Pablo, what you think?
Yeah. No, I mean honestly, I feel like one of the cool things about soccer here, and I feel like, me being from Peru and kind of being involved in that like South American, like mindset and viewpoint of the game, I feel like a lot of times it gets the American way of playing soccer and going about soccer a lot of times gets looked down on by other countries. But one of the cool things that I think makes soccer special in this country is the fact that there's all these different things that they take from maybe like basketball or like
Right.
football, like all-star games that they involve into soccer. And it honestly lets you like see a lot of cool things that you might not see in any other places. I mean, I love the goalie wars that they had. I think they had done it a while back and they just brought it back. The skills challenge, it feels like it's something that, you would do while you're playing FIFA. But you actually see all the players that you see every weekend actually doing it in real life.
Yeah.
So I think that the format is actually cool, and it's a great way to, not only just have fun with it, but I feel like it might bring in that like new audience of new soccer fans that, might not really be following the game every week, but then they just tune in for the All-Star Challenge and they're like, hey, like this is maybe something that I can get into. They're just having fun with it. And honestly, I think that that's really a trend that I see with U.S. soccer now. Is just having fun with it and see how we can do things differently and how we can build our own culture, And I think that one of the cool things about being involved with soccer these days is just the fact that we kind of get to create what we want out of this sport. So honestly, love the All-Star match and obviously everything around it too.
Yeah, what are the leagues gonna have Chicharito, hitting scissor kicks?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, what are the leagues gonna be doing that? No.
Yeah, you guys LAFC or LA Galaxy, or neither?
I'm an LAFC fan.
He's a big LAFC fan. I'm more of a coward, so I haven't really picked a side yet.
What are you leaning towards?
Early on in this podcast, we did like kind of a debate, and obviously he was the LAFC side, so I was debating for Galaxy. But the way that I explain to people is that I came into soccer later in my life. I grew up playing baseball. I didn't really start. I didn't fall for the game until I started doing more stuff with urban pitch, but. That coincided at the same time when LAFC was coming up. So naturally, this really cool team that's doing all this stuff in my backyard is having, is starting up at the same time I'm becoming a soccer fan. So naturally I was engaged by that and I was drawn to that. So early on I was definitely in the LAFC camp. But then when they started playing, but I also, recognized what Galaxy had done, what they've accomplished over the years. The fact that they, really had a significant role in globalizing MLS and making it, the visibility of the league, increasing that. So I did recognize that, and we worked with both teams, both with Urban Pitch and Urban Futsal LA, our sister company. So I, had seen the work that goes into what both teams were doing, and I see the different mindsets and strategies that they had. So I recognize that. LAFC was always that kind of cool though. They had that what I mean? They're the shiny, the cool new kid,
the shiny new
on
toy.
campus. Right, exactly. But so I was I had one foot in the LAFC bucket, but once they started playing Galaxy and the derbies were happening, and Galaxy were beating them pretty much every time. And to me, I thought that was really good for the league in that it gave LAFC that hunger that they were they wanted to overcome that hump. And we talk about this earlier. I don't know if they still have overcome that hump.
Beat them at their home stadium.
Despite having objectively more success since they came into the league than Galaxy, but. I found myself rooting for Galaxy to keep beating, the little brother. I'm an older sibling. I'm an older sibling, so that might have something to do with it. But I found myself, rooting for, and then they had Zlatan, and he was obviously doing his thing. So I see the value in both teams, and what LAFC has done by joining the league with so much momentum is they force Galaxy to step up their game too. And I think Galaxy is still trying to get to that point where, they have that off-field image that LAFC does, but they've definitely stepped things up because for years, they had no one, they you could say they were complacent when it comes to some of the off-pitch initiatives. But now I think they've definitely stepped it up. They've worked with some really cool artists and creatives in the LA area, and you're starting to see that side grow from that side. So that's my whole spiel when it comes to LA Galaxy, LAFC.
That's a real complex story. I went to high school across the street, so that's what made me a LAFC fan. Keep it simple.
Yeah, man. Yo, what do you guys think about the transfers now? Both teams, they made completely different deals, I think.
Yeah. So I was gonna bring that up actually, but I don't know if this is true. This is Twitter gossip, rumors that were in the fray. But I saw something. Someone, one of our Urban Pitch contributors shared it in the group Slack that Galaxy and Gareth Bale had an agreement earlier in the season.
Oh damn!
Yeah. But they instead went with Costa because they got a quote unquote better deal. I don't know if this is true. This is irresponsible of me for even putting this on
To
air.
even say.
You know what I mean? Because this is like a fourth whatever
It's like
source.
the bottom of Reddit.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like this is not so.
So what are we, TMZ now?
Yeah, no. I mean, TMZ wouldn't be saying this. You know, TMZ has a standard, so I shouldn't have even said that. But if that's true, you know, that's crazy. But obviously, you know, Bale and Chiellini coming to LAFC is huge. I think, you know, Galaxy getting Ricky Puig. I don't know if I'm saying that. I need to get that.
I have no idea how to
pronounce
Ricky Puig.
Puig. It's like Pooch or Puig. I don't know, dude. But either way, I think, you know, obviously that was a very surprising signing to me for how young he was. You know, MLS still kind of has this, even though they're slowly shedding it, actually quickly shedding it. There's a bunch of young talent that are making their ways from South America to MLS, and you see, you know, them kind of going to the South America to America to Europe. That kind of
it's becoming a sudden league.
So you're starting to see that, but you're not really seeing the Europe to US pipeline where it's a young guy like Puig, who's, so to me that was like way out of the blue, and I'm excited to see, you know, I don't know if they're going to play each other again, maybe in playoffs, but that'll be a fantastic dynamic there, as it always is.
Yeah, for sure. This Galaxy.
Oh, there he is. There he goes. I didn't even see that. So you're obviously a Galaxy supporter then?
No, man, I picked this up in a store here, Golazo Kids. They had this. This is like a training top.
Yeah.
From like I don't even know if it's actually for the Galaxy because it's just Galaxy
it's
FC.
Just right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, if I had to pick between the two teams, for me, it's almost the same way. Like it's just I don't have like a connection to either one. I mean, I root for DC United, so it's like when I watch their games, it was always like I want whoever had the streak to keep it and just like shove the other team down,
right.
far, man. And when Galaxy was doing it, it was almost like cool to see, you know, because it was, you know, this other team was trying to get their first one in, and when Zlatan was there, it was always a spectacle. Every game was like just flashy. I mean, it's what you expect from that kind of matchup, and I honestly miss him for that. It was cool.
Those were good games.
They were good games.
So like now, yeah, man, like they were. So that was like pure entertainment. And now you see like Bale. Like I love it. I mean, it's starting to ramp up again. So
even the signings, like you got a Real Madrid for LAFC and a Barcelona for
Galaxy. It's insane, man. It's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, but so what we need now is for them to kind of amp up the trash talk, kind of like how Zlatan was doing his interviews, you know, saying, you know, where was Vela? Where was I when I was 28? You know what I mean? And where's
I remember that.
You know what I mean? Like that. I mean, that interview that was unreal, and you don't really see interviews like that are getting picked up nationally. You know, when it comes to MLS. So I think kind of, you know, investing into the storytelling. Which I think they're doing a little bit more, but, you know, even kind of just doing that, like just going all in, kind of like how the NBA did, you know.
Forget that guy Zlatan.
No, man, you need characters like that, man. You need characters like that.
You do, man. You do.
Like need characters.
So if the league wants to keep growing, especially here in the U.S., where, you know, we're so distracted all the time with you know what's going on here and there, but you know, I don't know if Bale is the guy to do it, but if he can just like lean into that kind of villain role and start, you know, maybe talking some mess here and there, I think that might be good for the league.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. So being DC United fans, what are your thoughts on Rooney coming back to manager?
Dude, that's a tough one because I mean I feel like Rooney is Rooney, and I think most of us here really loved him for what he did for the club when he came as a player. I think no one was really expecting him to show up, and I mean if he was going to come to MLS, why DC out of all places? But like he came when we were opening the new stadium and everything, and I remember that's really when, because we had been to a few RFK games at RFK, and then they opened up the new stadium right when Rooney came in. And I remember for like the rest of that season, it was mainly home games because they had like postponed them to the end of the season when the stadium would open up. And I remember going to almost all of them just because you knew that you would show up and then see him do something special. And I think we might have just lost like one game at home out of like 10 that we played at the end of the season. And it was just an unreal atmosphere. And, you know, the way he exited the club, I think I'm pretty sure I heard his family like wasn't happy with life here in America. And that's why he decided to like go back to England and all that stuff. But now coming back as a coach, I mean, I feel like DC had been doing pretty poorly this season.
It's been tough. And
yeah, like, I mean, honestly, I feel like the fans really weren't happy with the way things were going at the club. You know, after they fired Losada, I think a lot of the fans, including myself, like it's been really tough to like, you know, get behind the team. You know, I think we all like love the players and everything, but you know, seeing a little bit of like what was happening with the organization was a little disheartening. And obviously bringing Rooney, I think will help to get some of those fans like back. And on top of that, I think he'll obviously help, you know, be a coach that can help recruit players from Europe. Hopefully not just like older players, but maybe younger players like we saw with Puig, who might be able to come and maybe, you know, start turning things around for DC. So that's really where I see Rooney being a very valuable asset for DC. It's kind of being that recruiter, and then obviously we all want him to do well as a coach. You know, obviously he's still kind of like finding his wings in that role. So hopefully he can, you know, learn and then progress as a coach, and you know, with that, hopefully take the team in the right direction. But obviously excited to see with you know what he can do and the players that he's able to bring. You know, he already got Benteke, so you know, we'll see.
Yeah, and we just need to get a beans and toast spot opened up in DC so the family can feel a little bit more at home. You know, get some haggis in there, whatever the hell that is.
There's a big Salvadorian community. Just go get some pupusas out there in DC.
Yeah, they don't have that. They don't have that. That's too much. That's too much flavor for the English. You know what I mean? That's too much flavor, bro. That's
way too much, man. Way too much.
I'm Salvadorian, so I know there's a big community out there in DC United.
It's huge, man.
Oh yeah.
And we're real rowdy people, so I can just imagine how the stadium is sometimes.
I mean, I'll tell you, I think the food at the stadium is probably the best. I mean, some of the best you can get, at least in the East Coast, just because of the Salvadoran food you get there. It's really good. They also have Peruvian food there, so
nice.
Lomo saltado,
whole deal, man.
Lomo saltado, dude. That's
the green sauce that comes with it. What is it like? It's a little spicy.
Pablo, what is that one?
Yeah, I'm not sure what they call it, but I know what you're talking about. It's like the
it's always that one and then the yellow
one. The green one.
The green one is the best.
So good.
Best.
It's not chimichurri, is it?
No. It's like
No.
It's like
just green sauce.
Yeah,
it must be a secret, man. Like they just, it's everywhere.
Yeah,
like anywhere you get Peruvian chicken, it's there.
The Peruvians, they keep it real secret. Like you gotta know a guy to get the recipe, I guess.
You gotta know, man.
So let's talk let's talk about soccer culture in the U.S. a little bit, because you know, we've seen it grow even since, you know, the last 3-4 years. There's been, you know, an increase of not only, you know, I don't mean to toot our own horns, but people like Urban Pitch, people like Club 11 that are kind of covering this whole scene. We've seen, you know, different collectives, we've seen different, you know, apparel brands, we've seen just, you know, people playing pickup, whatever. So it's definitely on the rise, especially over the last few years. What's your guys' take? What have you seen? And to you, what is American soccer culture?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, at least personally, what I see a lot of is just, I mean, just conversations like these. They just help push it forward. The competition, obviously, I feel like even the teams, like they all want the league to go up, and it's gonna be whatever league we're talking about here. It's either NWSL, USL, MLS, right. And that also applies to those covering the leagues. At least that's our mentality. That's just the way, I think, the way it's been with us. Whenever we speak to, you know, another organization, they think the same way, and it's kind of like everybody's just trying to, you know, push it forward, whatever that may look like. You know, it can be photos, it can be writing, you know, there's podcasts, there's videos, whatever it may be. I think the culture for me, like I can't really put a word yet into what it is, because it changes like every day. It's like, it's so young, at least even the MLS, for example. Like you're talking about a league that's barely past 25. You compare it to the EPL, it's like it's like a fourth of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like they have
Yeah.
like 180
Yeah. Yeah.
years on us, so it's like you see everything from its inception. Like they're trying to follow the entertainment of the NFL, the MLB, and all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And like for me personally, I always had a hard time like not like agreeing with it, but accepting that that's just the way it is. I used to see MLS when I was like 14, 15. I'm like, what is this? Like, what am I watching? And I feel like just getting out of that mindset, giving it a chance, that's that's what allowed me to actually enjoy it, accept it for what it is. The quality is getting there. I mean, I think it's on its way, but you can't expect it to just be overnight. Um, it's just it's a process. We're all in it. There's obviously good and bad, and like in any other league, like you can pick at any other league and find its flaws. Just like they'll tell you that any league here has its flaws, but I, dude, for me, it was just trying to find the beauty in those leagues, and I'm glad that I got to enjoy it. The culture here is just super open. It's very unique. There's a lot of diversity in whatever facet that may be. The clubs, like the kids, the people that are now starting to get into it more. So yeah, man, it's as unique as this country is. That's all I can really like describe it as. It's like the most unique league in the world, I would say. MLS and any other league in this country. It's just really cool.
Definitely, you can even see it. Even with the products that we are putting on the field now, all these young kids that are having that golden era of U.S. soccer. Personally, me, I think that the U.S. not qualifying to the World Cup helped out in a way that the U.S. invested more in the soccer culture. We don't want to be known as the U.S. does not like to be known as one of the weaker teams in the world. They always want to be the best,
Yeah.
either basketball, football, whatever it is. But so I think that once that happened, the U.S. said, you know what, we're investing this money, and you can see it in the league and in the players that we have now.
Dude, 100%. I mean, like obviously it's good to get the big signings. I think like we were just talking about Ibrahimovic earlier, and people like Rooney, like they helped me get into it. It's like the initial push some of us needed to like get our eyes on it. Um, but I think like once you start going like a few weeks, like actually following the stuff that's going on in your own backyard, it's like that's just that's for me that's what makes it different from following a league like across the globe. So we're here. I mean, you don't really have to look hard enough if you're in a main city to either find USL team, NWSL, MLS. Like you can find professional soccer near you, and enough quality to support it, to support whatever club that may be. I think now more people are looking into that, and with the signings, like dude, with LAFC, of course you want to go see. I would love to go see Bale like every weekend. It's the same thing
Yeah.
with Rooney. Like I want to, Benteke just signed. Like that it's definitely like propels you to go out there. But like you said, the academies as well. Like there's kids that a lot of people in your own communities, for example, like we grew up in Maryland, and the DMV has a lot of talent, and through these academies, it's people that maybe your cousins, your brothers may have gone to school with, and then you get to see them on the professional field next to, I don't know, Benteke. You're like that's awesome.
Yeah.
Those storylines, like they're great. And for me, like that's what makes it so special. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, I think mentioning how like people that you might know might be playing professionally. When you go to a DC United game and you'd see like Griffin Yao playing, for example, you'd see like all of his high school friends like on the bottom row waiting to say, hello at the end of the game, for example. Then I remember going to a Loudoun United game, which was like USL.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for that, it was my dad really, he loves watching soccer. And he's been to a few DC United games with me. And for that, we can honestly just take the metro and get off at the stadium and just go watch it. But to go see this Loudoun United game, we drove like 50 minutes out to go watch it.
Right.
I went with my little brother, and my little brother was, hey, like I know that guy that's about to come on in the second half. And this guy just like killed it. And my brother was like, yeah, like the people that I play with, we kind of like know him, and he's definitely going to be like a big player that's going to come out of here. So I feel like those sort of things is maybe something that you can't get from kind of following soccer in Europe or like South America. You know, we're here in the US, and I think it's important to support, you know, those young players, support those local teams, just because it's really what we have here. And then the way I see soccer in this country is basically a blank canvas. I mean, we can kind of paint it the way we want it, and that's what's going to be for the future. We can really do what we want to do with it, and I think it's important to take the time to support it now and to take the time in growing it.
Yeah,
That's why he's a writer, man. That's why.
Yeah,
You
that
need
was
to put
very
in the
eloquent.
words, yeah.
Yeah, that was very eloquent. Yeah. Now I think we can get into a little bit more about Club 11 and what you are all about. Obviously, you know, you have the website, you have the newsletter, you do, you know, written stories, you do photography. Origins, the new podcast, recently started coming out. I was listening to the Detroit City FC one on the way here.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. So what, just like, what kind of projects do you look into when you're looking for, you know, different stories to tell, or different players to interview, or, you know, like starting a new podcast? What kind of stories are you looking to cover when it comes to U.S. soccer?
Pablo, that's all you, man.
Oh, me? Yeah, I mean, I guess in terms of stories, one of the things that, you know, kind of really helped was, I think right before the pandemic, a lot of us had already gotten in touch. A lot of different photographers, people that wanted to contribute to Club 11. So by then, I think we were a group of maybe like, you know, between 20 and like 30 people. You know, just all of us in touch, just kind of, we all knew each other by that point. And when the pandemic happened, that's when we kind of shifted a little bit more from just doing game day coverage to start doing more of these profile stories with players. And that really came from me. I think for me, I grew up in Peru. So one of the things that kind of made me fall in love with the sport in general was just the fact that, you know, I could see the players playing on Sunday, but I always felt like I knew what they were up to the rest of the week. I mean, I knew where they would like eat, where they would hang out, what they would do with their free time, like their hobbies. And that's really something that I felt came from maybe like reading the Sunday newspaper. You know, whenever my family would bring it in, I would always take out the sports section. And on Sundays, they always had these like big like profiles on a player that, you know, I liked and that I would see every weekend. So from there, I think that's where the inspiration came from, doing these stories and trying to get a little bit more into telling the stories of the players and what they really do off the pitch and how they got to where they are. But that was really the inspiration behind it. But then actually, I guess, putting it into practice and then start putting them out is different. You know, how do you start like finding out about all these stories and all that? And I think that's really where the network and all the people that we gotten in touch with by that point were honestly the reason we were able to tell all these stories. It was, you know, people in New York, people in Miami, people in LA. They knew all these players. They knew the stories that they thought could be cool to tell in their own cities. And I think we were really guided by that. I mean, I think they're the ones that are there. They're the ones that are experiencing their own little culture wherever they are. And I think we really just wanted to listen to them and see what stories we could tell with them. So that's really, I think, the inspiration behind telling those stories and how we kind of look at telling the stories. Is just the people that are in those cities, they know what stories would be cool to tell. And we just go off and just tell them. So I think that's really where the storytelling comes into place.
Yeah. I think last year, like we had kind of just set this goal to do it on a weekly basis. And you know, that it definitely helped to just get accustomed to, you know, I think for me it was like on the design side of things, but for Pablo also like on the writing and like editing. And I think towards the end of the year, like we just found it was almost like going around on a wheel, the whole weekly kind of thing. So I think we decided to slow down a little bit more this year. The the stories, like the editorial, I think for us will always be like that's like the thing that we really enjoy doing. I think those conversations and presenting it, the amount of freedom that you have, like just doing the photography, you can pretty much pick any angle you want, after talking to the interviewee. And yeah, man, like now we're taking just a little longer in putting them out, but we're also just trying to figure out, like this podcast, what other mediums can we get into? So Origins was, I think, it was something that Pablo came up with, like at the beginning of the year, I think, and it just took us like a really long time to figure out how to, produce it and get it out. And like we obviously, you guys, props to you. We understand like how hard it is to set this up and like
Yeah.
get it up
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, like just but those kind of things. Like last year, we just didn't really have time to even attempt to figure that out. And I think that's one thing that we set out to do this year is just try new things. The podcast was one of them. I think we're hopefully going to restart the newsletter again in some way or form. And then video is also something that we're trying to get into, and probably closer to the end or start of next year. But yeah, man, like ever since we started doing the editorials, those are the base, and I think those at the core are what we've gone off of. And at the start, that was always the creators, in their communities and trying to again like showcase what they see. So yeah, it's been interesting last couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think has been the hardest thing once you start the website? What was the one thing that was pretty difficult to start off, but once you got that over that hump, it was good to go?
Yeah. Um, I mean, I think for both of us, like Pablo, I remember starting on like
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like this with every single club, but like, there's a lot of times where like the All-Star game, right? It's you really feel like you've covered. I think there were years where like you cover almost the entire season and you still can't get in.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's like,
Yeah.
dude, that's tough, but it is what it
Discouraging.
is. And I think just not not getting stuck on it and just like dude, I mean, I could think of like a million reasons why it was the way it was, but like there's no point in staying on that. I think just realizing that there's a few things that you just have no control of, and if you don't, like just figure out another route.
Right.
I can't tell you why we got in this year. I mean, it's maybe um, I don't know, but it's those kind of things. Like early on with the credentialing, that was something that you just have to accept. You either you get in or you don't, and um, that for me, I think in when it came to interviews as well, that obviously happens. It's just in different aspects. Like sometimes there's a project you might have been working on for months, man, but then like a schedule change could just
Right.
like you have to take a whole new angle. And it's just being able to adjust and working with those conditions. That's definitely something that yeah, man, like it took a little bit to understand and not get stuck up on those negatives, I would say.
Right.
Yeah,
But
I just
yeah.
make Ramsey get the credentials for me.
Yeah, man,
Bro,
yeah.
you have no idea. Like, yo, Julio, send me a headshot in JPEG form. This guy's sending me like SVGs or PNGs or whatever, like the stuff that's not.
Yo.
Ramsey's the man. Ramsey's the man.
Bro, yeah, man,
Something,
like
no, something
it's
Ramsey can do is figure it out. So I'll let him figure it out all the time.
yeah, man. Like there's well, like the amount of there's like different systems and stuff. Everybody has their own process and yeah, like I think like another thing I'm just happy and glad for is like there's always those people that, like just genuinely support it. Like there's
Mm.
in order to get into a lot of those games, like you were applying with no portfolio, you have no
Right.
like
Right.
nothing to show. And those people that took a chance early on, like that for me, like it always outweighs any challenge that came on because they're the ones that bro, I mean, I imagine myself on the other end of that computer. It's like, what is this? Like, it's
Right.
just literally nothing there.
Right. Right.
And yeah, man, like I appreciate that, those clubs and the people, the agents, the players that have supported it so far, like it means a lot to both of us. And yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean I feel like the credentialing process can be arbitrary at times because,
Yeah.
even like when we apply for games, like it'll be like
Hmm.
a toss up whether
Hmm.
Julio gets
Mm.
approved and I don't. They don't have enough room in the press box. They don't have any, like Roy's our photographer. Like we don't have room on the field, but we can get you in the press box, but we can't bring photos. You know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah.
there's a
Yeah.
million different things that go on, and then especially for like the bigger, like kind of more, um, like. Like MLS All-Star or like the MLS Cup final, or whether it's a men's or women's national team game, like that have more people applying. It's always going to be harder
Yeah.
to get
It's
in those
tough.
games, and they're going to leave spots for ESPN. They're going to leave spots for the Athletic, and
Yeah.
sometimes the independent sites take the brunt of that. But like like even just for the last week at SoFi, we were trying to get credentials for all three of us, me, Julio, and
Yeah.
Roy. And, we were only able to get two, so we had to kind of hustle around that. We were doing
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
outside the stadium. We were doing, Julio and I were taking videos inside the stadium because we couldn't get a
Yeah.
photographer in. So, you know what I mean? So it's like all of that, I think, provides, just an alternative angle to, because, I mean, ESPN's good at what ESPN does. You know what
Oh
I mean?
my
Like,
God.
and we can't compete with what they do. So we have to find,
Yeah.
alternative routes to be able to kind of,
Hmm.
to do that. And so that's how we kind of, I'm sure you're the same, as, find the stuff that isn't being covered, find, angles or, different things about certain games and stuff like that. That's not going to be found in ESPN or the Athletic or whoever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's
Yeah.
something that, from what we've done over the last few years, that has definitely kind of that switch kind of flips that, okay, you can't keep us from outside of the stadium. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Dude, 100%. I think like what you said about the toss of the coin is so accurate. There's I always thankful for the ones that do go, the right way. But dude, like when it doesn't go your way, you just like you said, you got to figure it out. I think there's the pregame interviews that you guys do with the fans. Like I saw the Madrid one, like that kind of stuff. At least when you go out and do it, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way, but it's like you actually learn a lot, from the fans, from the
Definitely.
people there, and it's just, dude, a lot of the times, like you don't even have to step foot on the field, but like you feel accomplished, like from
right.
from the stories that you hear from these people. Um, I think, yeah, like being, like you said, independent, you always have to figure out just new ways to get out where you want to get out. And like I'm glad for neither you guys or us, like credentialing has ever stopped us from trying.
Right.
So yeah, man, like props to you guys too,
Yeah.
man. It's
Yeah,
Thank you,
dude.
thank you,
You,
thank
really,
you.
got you
yeah.
got you got to hustle, man.
Yeah,
That-
forget
that's-
ESPN. We
Yeah,
hate you.
Yeah.
Yeah, screw you, ESPN.
Yeah, bro.
No, man.
Oh man.
Bro, the LA Times has been taking our story ideas, bro. Like, I
Yeah.
won't
Screw you,
get-
LA
I won't
Times
get,
too.
I won't get into that, but Kevin Vogt, if he's listening to this, he'll tell you, the Athletic and LA Times have both kind of, they were within their rights to do so, but I mean, you're reading the story and like, yo, I mean, that looks a little familiar, but I mean, that's neither here nor
Yeah.
there. But
Oh,
Yeah.
we got beef.
I won't say anymore. But
Yeah, screw them though.
But I
Yeah,
mean,
man.
what are some of the more positive things that you've seen in the soccer space, getting into the soccer space, whether it's meeting new people, some up and coming brands that you have on your radar? What are some of the bright
Dude.
spots in the U.S. soccer scene?
Yeah. I mean, like even at these, like you're starting off with the games, like the people you actually meet in the press box, down on the sideline,
Yeah,
they're all, at least, the ones that I've been able to meet is just super supportive. I feel like everybody just, like I said earlier, you understand that it's like you're part of something that you're all trying to grow. And that understanding just like, dude, it's just supportive. I can't really put another word to it. So yeah, I mean, the people at the game's always nice, and outside of it, like the brands, dude, like so many come to mind. You have like these guys, right?
Yeah,
Golasso kids. You
Golasso.
have
Yeah.
you have
Love them.
Darby. There's Icarus, for example. Like
Yeah.
I love those guys. There's just, I mean, everybody so far is just has been great. And I really like the everybody kind of brings their own, creativity to the table. Everybody has like uh, a mission, and it's just respecting each other's vision as well, because we do have a lot of similarities in the sense that like, dude, we're covering American soccer. It's not something that everybody goes in to do just to do. Like, you have to like it, you have to enjoy it, to stay in that space. And I feel that same passion when I talk to a lot of the people in this space. So yeah,
Do
that's
you
that's just me. Of
do you guys play soccer as well?
course, yeah. Not
Yeah.
not not good, but fine. Yeah. At least me, Pablo's had a yeah. You had a better high school
Nah,
career.
right. Yeah, but I don't know. You're selling yourself short, man. I love this guy when he plays. He's too good. He's left-footed, so
So,
Oh,
Oh,
I
that's
haven't seen a
nasty.
bad lefty. I have
Yeah,
not seen a
no,
bad
that's
lefty.
true.
yeah, bad
You can get
lefty.
away.
That's
You
what
can
I'm
get
trying to
yeah.
say.
You can't. You can get away a lot more. You look a lot better lefty.
Yes, you
You
do.
know what I mean?
yeah.
Smoother, whether
Exactly.
you're more smooth.
Lefties, yeah.
Yeah,
That is the one blessing, man. I may not have the beard, but I got the left foot.
You got the skills. No, but I mean, I think that's one of the, maybe now I think, we played soccer growing up, and then, I think as you get older, you do still like maybe play like once a week, and then you kind of start slowing down in terms of how much you actually play soccer. But one of the things that I've loved about at least getting to work through Club 11 is that I can still kind of have a foot in the soccer space in some way, and still be involved with a sport that's given me so much, and a sport that I've loved pretty much since I was born, I think. So
Definitely.
yeah, and I mean, kind of talking about the bright spots, I think getting to talk to all these, players and agents and stuff, they've honestly been, all of them, so supportive and so open to doing stuff. One of the humps that was kind of difficult for me to get over at the beginning was kind of the process of like being able to like reach out and actually be like, hey, do you guys want to like do something, collaborate? And that was difficult at first, but then after kind of seeing that they were so open and so down to really, do anything that we kind of wanted to do creatively, they were just so open and so easy to work with, that I think that's definitely one of the bright spots. Maybe it's not something you see anywhere else, where, players are so open to,
Definitely.
working with all these creators, because I feel like they also understand what it's like to just be in the U.S. soccer space,
right.
where it's like we're all in it together and we're all just trying to grow it. And I think that they respect that, and they love getting to work with people that are passionate about the sport here, and that are interested in kind of lifting those stories.
Yeah. Yeah, and some of those players, I mean, the player interviews and like photo shoots that you did with them were, I feel like, a big part of the editorial stuff that you have on the site. Who are some of your favorite players to interview, or stories to read, or hear about, and why was it Caprice Didasco?
Yeah, who were the worst people?
Yo, this is really TMZ, bro.
I'm here for the messiness.
Julio he's a messy human.
He's here
Man.
for the
He's,
tea.
yeah, he's bringing
Yeah,
out.
I respect it. Same.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Who were one of the best players?
Pablo.
Man, I think that's a difficult one, because, I mean, honestly, they all just have like, what I love is that they have very different stories, but in a sense, they all just sort of connect in a way. And what I love about each story is that even though they play soccer, I feel like a lot of stuff that they talk about is relatable to just people in general, maybe people that, just don't play soccer. One of the ones that stands out to me is, one of the very first ones that I was able to do, which was with Donovan Pines. He played for the university that I went to, and then went on to play for DC United. And his dad was the president of that university. So what he was talking about was, the struggle of kind of having a dad who was like, an engineer, like very successful academic, and kind of growing up with that pressure of like always having to do well in school and everything. He had like ADHD and dyslexia, so that was like a challenge for him to kind of keep up to those high standards academically. So he really like opened up about that, and then also how he kind of stepped out and kind of just went his own path and tried to make his own way into soccer, and he's done really well, honestly. But that was one of the ones that stands out because of the story itself, but also just because it was really like the first one that I had done. So that one definitely stood out. But then from there, man, like I really, I'm not sure if I can just pick out like my favorites, just because everyone is so like unique in its own way, and I just love that they're so open to really talk about really everything. Another one that I love was one that we did with Aleko Iskandarian and his dad Andranik.
That was a great one. I remember that photo shoot with them was awesome.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think, man. Yeah, Gabe, I mean, you met him. I think you went to his shop.
I mean, yo, like that, his dad, right? Yeah.
Yeah, his dad.
Yeah. So I was so we put up that piece last year, I think, and I was visiting Peter in Jersey. It was earlier this year, I think it was in the summer. And we just like we went to his shop, right? Like his shop is still there. He's still selling stuff, and it just happened to be he was there. And dude, like he remembered the piece. He was so open to like he was just talking about like old stories, like Pele and stuff. He's like, yeah, before you were born, like all that. And I'm just sitting like it just reminded me of like when my dad or like my grandpa was like sit me down and like tell me when I remember my grandpa, like he watched Pele play in Peru against his home side team. And it's like, dude, this guy played, against Pele. And hearing that, seeing how nice this guy was, and open. Like I think he wouldn't let us go from the store without like some he gave us like some Schalke kits, like the training top.
Oh wow.
Oh nice.
Yeah, man, and it's just, dude, those Eskandarian definitely, like for me, just stood out. I usually, I Pablo does the interviews. I don't usually get to meet these guys, but I was fortunate enough to, talk to him, and yeah, man, really cool guy. For me, the other ones that will stand out, I remember Hugh Roberts, from I think he's in Monterey Bay now. But when he came, he was playing Loudoun, so he stayed in a hotel with the team in Virginia. And for us, that's like an hour drive.
Yeah.
We went out from DC. Went from Kenny was doing video. He came from DC. He got us from like College Park in Maryland. We went out to Virginia. But dude, like just talking to him and like the kind of creative mind. He's got his podcast. He has his podcast going on. He has like his plans for that are super interesting. And just being able to talk about that was really cool for me. The other one that I can think of is Brandon Vasquez. We met up with him in Cincinnati. He's just it's like the same. Like when somebody likes photography and you can kind of talk about photography with them and kind of have the same interest, those for me at least stand out, because there's few things that I can talk about for like a long time. So it helps. It helps.
Yeah, well, Paul Arriola as well. I think when he had like just left DC United, that one was awesome, also I think special, just because it was like someone that we like at least I had like followed since I really started like paying attention to DC United. That was someone that always like stood out, and like for him with his story, it was great. And then I know Gabe, you were able to do the photo shoot with him in like Dallas, I think with like Kenny and like Ji-sung, and I think I got COVID that week, so I wasn't able to fly out.
It's tough.
But still, man, I love the final product, and from what I heard from the guys that were able to go, he was honestly super nice, super open, and just again like down to really do anything and get creative. So I think that's really one of the biggest like positives in terms of stories.
Yeah. And Eskandarian's a DC United guy too, right?
Yeah, it's his son, Aleko.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. He's he's a legend, I guess. Like
Right.
he's just
Yeah.
yeah.
He's
He won
like
MLS Cup.
All-Star. Yeah.
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 He played with Freddie Adu and all that too.
Yeah.
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 Oh,
No, and that, he
Freddie
was
Adu.
also. I'm not sure if because there's so much that like sometimes because with him I think we spoke for almost like 3 hours.
Right.
So obviously like to like put that into writing it's like very difficult and there's some stuff that sometimes doesn't make it in.
Right.
But you know some of the stories that he was saying of like when Barcelona came over to play DC United, I guess all the way back in the day, like 2004, 2005, something like that. You know, he got to train with him. He played with Ronaldinho, with Deco. And it's like this guy was honestly like so accomplished. And then it's crazy that his dad was also like got to play against Pele, got to play with Pele, got to play against Maradona. It's just ridiculous that at least in that family they both ended up being so successful. But yeah, man, I think both of those stories were great. The father son duo.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
That old DC United kit, though, the Adidas one, like
So clean.
ridiculous.
Wow.
I remember Diaz Arce used to wear it.
Yeah,
Jaime
yeah.
Moreno, Echeverri,
Bro, oh my God, and Moreno too.
y Moreno,
Class.
yes, Jaime Moreno, yeah.
Class, yeah.
They
Dude, we have long history, like the club. I think that's why it's, dude, I'm not, I could go on and on about DC, but like you obviously want to get them back to those days.
yeah, when they were
It's
beating
been
the
a
Galaxy.
really long time, bro. Like I mean, I wasn't even following them back then, obviously, but it's like a lot of times like clubs rely on the trophies. You know, you can like sit on them but I think trophies have an expiration date, and
They
like
reset.
ours passed,
Right.
bro. Like you cannot say what is it, like four or something?
They have the stars.
Yeah,
they
they
have the
beat
stars on the
LA
crest
Galaxy
too, right?
like the first three
Yeah.
finals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they
So
got to
it-
get rid of the stars at some point.
Yeah,
Right?
dude.
Yeah, they wiped them off.
Yeah.
So
Like,
how many years before it expires?
dude, I think it passed, man. Like I think like there's.
But what should be the rule? How many years? Just so the Galaxy fans can hear.
Yo, honestly, like in like a
That's a good
league,
one.
yeah, man, yeah. With how many teams are there? What, like 30? 30 teams?
There's like
now next
it's
year?
like 20. It's like 28 or 29, I think, right
Yeah.
now. Yeah, it's about to be
Yeah.
30. It's about to be 30 soon.
So, bro, I would say like 10, 15. But for us, I guess it's coming up at that point. Like it's good,
Already
you know.
passed,
The
bro.
Rooney thing, yeah. Like the Rooney thing is like super encouraging. But I mean, you got to see the product on the field, man, and it's gonna take a while to see it. You know, I think we all love the club, just because it's DC United. We all like it for our own reasons, but like it's incredible. Like seeing the fans do come out, and me personally, like I just after that there was this one game against Austin, right, Pablo? It was Austin.
Yeah.
We were up 2-0 in the 80th minute, and like we're sitting up, like we're just super super happy. Like I'm with my brother, you know, a couple friends, and we're like, oh yeah, dude, finally, like we won a game. It's like 2-0, 80th minute, like 3-2 by the 90th, man. The 2-3, I mean, like, oh my God. And I think, like, dude, it's just hard. Like it's hard to see that. And it was that one moment for me where I'm like, yeah, I mean, maybe I'll watch like the next few on TV, but it's just because like for coming from, you know, you have to take the metro, you have to go down or whatever, and getting into the game, and you really want to support, like you want to get out there and watch. Like I remember for me it was Acosta, like Luciano Acosta was my favorite player. I personally, and I stand by my opinion, I tell Pablo every day, like I prefer him over Rooney, and you can talk about stats.
I disagree, bro.
Yeah, I know you do, but like you look at statistically and on the field, like when you saw this goal he had against New York when they made the playoffs, like this dude dribbles everybody and then lays it off to Rooney. Rooney scores. But I mean, it's the play. The play was beautiful, and that was the kind of stuff that really, you know, that 2018 season, 2019, like that's when I really fell in love with that team. It was just enjoyable to watch. It was entertaining. And I think with Losada, like you got a taste of that again almost. Or you were just watching something that you hadn't seen before. It was full attack. And maybe that, you know, that caused those kind of results where like you would just crumble in the back. But dude, like fans want to see wins, man. Like you want to see your team. You don't like seeing your team at the bottom of the table. And of course I'm gonna tune in and watch. But yeah, man, when you mentioned Adidas, DC United, the old days, like that's what we want. We want to see that in 2020 eras. So
But I mean,
you got the spirit winning last year in the NWSL.
Yeah.
So
dude, and now it's like
That was
what?
great.
Yeah, the spirit was like it balanced it. It more than balanced it out. Like it made last year good.
Right.
I think, bro, Trinity Rodman is just like
baller.
that's
We were
like
just talking about
generational.
I mean,
talent.
but Sanchez, Ashley
that's-
Sanchez too. Both of them. I mean, that's insane. Like,
Yeah.
Sanchez too.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Sanchez is Sanchez left foot or no?
That's a good question. I'm not entirely sure.
I'm not
Okay,
sure.
whatever foot it is, like her dribbling is just like class, man. Like you watch her, dribble out of the back, which I play left back usually, so like seeing that is that's what you like to see. You take those chances and you push forward. But Rodman is like Jesus,
Next
like,
level, bro. Next level.
I remember, like she scored like that first goal. I don't know if it was her first game or not.
Off the
but
volley.
yeah, and you're like, what the hell? Like
Crazy.
that's wild. And everything that team had to go through last year too.
Right. With the coach.
To get to that
The ownership.
championship, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just
Bro, like I guess the mental game like they must have must be crazy. Like to
yeah.
push through that and you win the whole thing. So now I mean like obviously like they're having their struggles, but like I still bro, like they won last year. There's nothing I can say to that team.
Right.
They brought another cup to DC, so yeah.
No, but I think the good thing about MLS is that I feel like you don't really need a project in the same way that you might need in the Premier League, for example, if you honestly want to win it. And it's like you make the playoffs and then you catch fire in that like last month of the season.
Dude,
and you get on the champion.
Anything can happen. Anything can happen in the playoffs.
You just
man.
got to make the playoffs.
Right.
That 2019 LAFC season.
Bro, LA
That hurt.
should have won that.
That hurt. That whole season, I was
The
trash
stakes just got a
talking.
little too high, I think.
Yeah,
That's
I was
what it
trash talking so much that season, and then it all bit me in the butt, man.
That's what they call humbling. He was
no.
humbling.
I still can't go to LA Galaxy games.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not always the best team that wins, right? It's the hottest team.
Yeah.
No, they have to win it this year. The roster they put together, it's
It needs,
make or break.
If you don't win it, it's
But have you seen you see what happened to Philadelphia last year? Like they had all those COVID cases before. I think Philadelphia would have won last year.
Yeah, Philadelphia should have won.
Yeah.
If they had Philadelphia is like
yeah.
that's oh my god.
But I mean,
man.
if
this
you-
year too, when you put
but
them against
even-
LAFC, that's gonna be like that's the game I want to see, man. In
But
the final.
last year New England was sort of like the LAFC of 2019, where it was like they went
They
crazy.
ran away. They
Crazy.
ran away with the supporter shield that
So
they
what I
locked
always
it up
think,
like
though,
early.
is that
Yeah, dude.
I think then they had like you obviously if you're the number one seed you get that bye, but I always feel like that ends up hurting the team so much because it's like you got like maybe like 1 or 2 weeks off, and then you have your first game of playoffs, and you play against a team that probably played like a few days ago, and then that always just ends up like getting them, and I don't know.
Yeah.
There's just so much unpredictability in the playoffs.
I was at that game where Morrison took Blackman off the line to score the goal, and that day I was like, we should trade Blackman.
Oh my god, bro.
This guy's a fanatic, man.
Oh man, it pissed me off so much.
Yo, did Redia score against you guys in that game or not?
I
What
think
was the score?
I know Morris went off.
Yeah, Morris went out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blackman
Morris
couldn't defend
did
him.
Yeah,
He couldn't defend him. He was burning him
Bro.
down that line every single time. I was like, foul him, do something, God.
No.
It was bad.
Yeah. Like that's the one thing. Even if you can be close to the bottom of the table, but if you just make it to a playoff spot and you get your stuff together for the playoffs, like
Anything can
there's
happen.
always that chance. Yeah. Like didn't RSL make a was it
They made a
RSL
deep run last year.
deep run
because that was the PK, the whole PK situation last year, right?
it won with like 0 shots or something.
Yeah, that was and the goalie was just getting like he
Wild.
was.
Yeah,
Oh
he was
my
going
goodness,
wild.
dude! And now he's not even with the
Sure,
team
right?
anymore. Yeah, he's not even like.
He's in DC. He's in DC. I think.
Yeah.
He got locked
Yeah.
out of
Because
Yeah,
like
what
he wasn't
happened?
showing
Like,
up to
he had a little
practice. Or
drama
something.
going on as
Yeah,
well, right?
yeah. They didn't like him in Salt Lake, or he was being like, I don't know what was going on, but yeah, they got rid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's with us now, so
He's a great
hopefully he
talent.
can do that in the
Good luck
playoffs.
to.
He's
He
really
decided
good,
to go
man.
in Mexico instead of the U.S.
Yeah.
This guy,
Like Araujo, man, in Galaxy. That's one of my favorite players.
dude.
Like,
All right. Do you think he's having a great season this season?
this season,
Yes. Is he having a good season?
where's LA right now?
No, what I'm saying,
what
like,
position?
no, just looking at him play.
I mean, honestly, I've seen like 3 games this year of him, but I can't say like I haven't heard much of him or seen him stand out. So
He is not like this guy's having a
It
awful season.
after the success that he had, and there's a lot of momentum around him, especially him, making the Mexican national team and playing well. But him, I feel like just listening to the Galaxy fans' frustration with, just everything really. But I think Efrain and Araujo are two of like the kind of like they just want things to pick up for them. But the talent is definitely there, and you've seen it. And
Yeah,
Dude,
definitely.
Araujo's class like last year.
Yeah.
And
Oh
I think like again, I think for me it's just maybe it's like a bias, but like the defenders on the wing, that's what I look out for. And he was assisting Chicharito a lot. I
Yeah.
remember. Like his crosses, the connection they had was great. Well, it was really cool to see in the All-Star game. I think it was him, Vela, and Chicharito like in the
Definitely.
picture together.
I think it's time for him to find a better team. Honestly, yeah, because he
Oh,
is a
maybe,
great player.
yeah.
He's a great player,
He is.
but I don't think that team is the team for him. He needs to find a team that he can show more of his skills.
100. I mean, I didn't know that he was he's born like after 2000, I think.
Yeah,
Like, he was the only player in All-Star like from
That's crazy.
past the 2000, and I didn't know he was that young. Like that's he's younger than me. dude.
Yeah, I
I'm
think he was like
22.
17 starting or something like that.
Yeah, he's
crazy.
Yeah, he's
Wow.
Crazy, man. It's crazy. He's really good.
It makes me feel old.
Dude, I'm 32. Imagine me.
All right, guys, listen. We could keep going on forever, but I know y'all got things to do. But before we wrap things up, what is one thing that you want to see? What is one milestone, one goal that you want to see out of U.S. soccer? Whether it's the national team, MLS, NWSL, USL, whatever, from like just any aspect of American soccer. What's one goal that you want to see hit in the next 4 years?
4 years?
Yeah.
Oh, Pablo. You go for it. I gotta think.
Man. No, that's a difficult one. I mean, what I would like to see, at least in the last 4 years, if it comes to U.S. soccer, I want to see this World Cup that we have coming up. I want us to go through the group stage. I think that's really what everyone wants.
Right.
I think we need to get through. Hopefully, we beat England.
Yeah, we're gonna give England that work. We're giving England that work.
We
are,
bro,
man.
if we win that game, it's all over for them, bro.
Yes.
I just want to see their heads explode. But then for 2026, I mean, honestly, like I would want that team that had that experience in 2022 to get to 2026
Right.
and be in a position where they can be like, all right, we can make a deep run at this. Because I heard Pulisic obviously said, why would we go to the World Cup without the intention of winning it?
Right.
But I think for most fans, we all kind of understand that, it's like the chances of the U.S. winning the World Cup are very slim, like this year.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get to a point by 2026 where it's like, okay, like maybe the chances are not so slim anymore. Maybe we can make that deeper run. I think that would be a cool thing to see towards 2026 in terms of stuff on the field. But I guess off the field, I would honestly just love to see all of these different, brands and like creatives to really, continue doing what we're all doing. And then hopefully by 2026, we're able to all of us, get all these new fans involved, and really continue connecting people to the sport that we all love. I think, for a lot of us, really the goal is 2026. I think that's going to be a big year for soccer in general. And I think I would love to see soccer in a position where it's maybe not looked down as much anymore in this country, and it's getting to the point where I think it's already one of the top sports in this country. It's just kind of flying under the radar, but I wanted to get to that point where it's really recognized as a sport that we are, proud of as a nation. And yeah, I think that's really what I would like to see by 2026. But yeah, I think I bought you some time to think, Gabe, so you can go ahead.
Damn, bro. Yeah. I mean, look, for me, it's more of the support, the like the stadiums, man, because psychologically, like that, it just affects everybody's perception of whatever league you're talking about. I think what I would like to see is like on a random Saturday, I'm walking downtown in like any city, like I want to see at least one kid from that team that's playing on Sunday. That's what that's what I would love to see. I was in San Diego a couple of weeks ago, and you actually do see that there. Like maybe it's because San Diego has like this history of like teams leave. There's
Right.
this is how that whole thing happening, and now you have the Loyal, which is a good name.
Yeah.
And like you actually do see people wearing it on the street, and I think DC you see the same thing, but you can't say that about like every single market. And I know that you could go to England and like this is not even something that has to be spoken about, because maybe that's to do with that's the top sport, it's number one, so yeah, that would be what I would like to see. I want it to be the most, maybe not it doesn't have to be the most popular, but it has to be the most respected sport in the US, and I think that representation comes with that, and I think when people feel represented by those clubs, people can actually feel connected by those clubs. That's when they're going to start, showing it themselves. They'll put on the kit, they'll talk about it. People won't have to market the game. Like you don't have to sell this game to anybody. Right. It's like, it's just, you like it because it's what you see around you. It's what's there in front of you. It's the main event. I think you guys all touched on it. Like 2026 is huge for that because you just can't ignore it at that point. It's going to be everywhere. Every corner you go, like those games are going to be playing. I hope this World Cup is the same way where even though it's tough, like Thanksgiving week and all that, and you have November, December, but should be a good push towards that. But yeah, man, for me it would be that. Like I want to see more of these kids out there, more support, more people like looking in their own backyard and going to those games. And that's going to translate to the sport being at the top. And like Pablo said, like I hope to see all of us still trying to push towards that goal, still working towards that and doing our part for it. So, yeah.
Yep, definitely. We got a preview at SoFi Stadium, how it can look. How soccer look. It was amazing, dude. We were there and we were like, wow, like the pitch looked amazing. Yeah. I know they put it in that same day.
I think they put it in a couple of days, but they brought in the pitch for that game.
But like just to see one of those football stadiums packed for just soccer fans, it was amazing. The flares were going off. Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
how many? It was like what, over 90,000?
It was 70. So the Real Madrid
we were there too.
game at the Rose Bowl, that was 93. It was like
93,000.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
That was nuts.
And in the SoFi, they had more fans there than the
Super Bowl.
Super Bowl, yeah.
Yeah.
So the Super Bowl had like 70,000. Yeah. The game had like 71.
It was like
plus.
73 or 72.
Yeah, 70 something. Ridiculous.
So it's that kind of stuff, Pablo, you got that Charlotte thing behind you. Like I remember that game, man. Like that day was the most color coordination I've seen on the streets like in my life. I've never seen the amount of light blue or Carolina blue, whatever you call that. It's like
you see it everywhere.
Crazy. And I remember all of us, we were like, wow, we're coming from like, New York, Philly, DC, and like we've never seen that. And this is like it's obviously like their first year, that's a big push first game, but it stays in your mind, man. Like that's what you want to see day in and day out. And I know it's been done because like you look across the pond and they have that. So
yeah,
love that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see if it gets there. I hope it does too. I think we're on the right track. We just got to keep the growth coming. But
4 years might be tough, but I'm sure. I'm sure at some point we'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, guys, this has been great. Thank you again for coming and joining the show. But before we go, just, tell us where we can find Origins. Tell us where we can find Club 11 on socials and all that.
Of course. No, and thank you guys for having us again. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
For Origins, you can find that on Spotify, Club 11 Podcast. And then you guys can find our work on Instagram. The handle is at Club 11. Twitter is Club 11 Mag, and our website is club11mag.com. So
yeah, we'll link all that. We'll link all that in the description and whatnot. But guys, once again, thank you. We're big fans of everything you do.
Yeah, you guys too, man.
Pleasure.
Pleasure.
Pushing the culture forward, pushing the game forward. We're all for it. Like I said, rising tide raises all ships. So I'm sure we'll be seeing some more big things from y'all in the next coming days. But this has been awesome. Gabriel and Pablo, Bayona, Sapag, Julio Monterosa. I'm Ramsey Abashala. This has been the Urban Pitch Podcast, part of the Believe Network. Keep it tuned in. We got more guests coming to you. We got more shows. We got everything coming in the next few weeks. So keep it tuned in. Until then, though, we'll see y'all next time.
Boom.